Hey everyone, how's it going? Forrest here, again with another installment of my complete analysis of all of Bach's chorale harmonizations. Before we get started, I'd like to apologize for yesterday's delayed upload. I uploaded it just a couple of minutes ago. I had some computer issues that were preventing me from editing the video, and I just learned about the notification system on YouTube where I could send out a notification to my subscribers or people who are following the channel. So if anything comes up like that in the future, I'll be sure to notify you just so you know what the state of the channel is or how long there's going to be a delay between uploads. But today we get a double upload because of the fact that I had some computer trouble. But today we're looking at none other than Nun kom de Heiden Heiland, which translates to Now Come Savior of the Gentiles. This is a very famous Lutheran melody. Maybe the most famous Lutheran melody, or maybe I just have that bias because we looked at this particular melody quite a bit in my harmony classes. Not this particular harmonization. I actually haven't come across the harmonization I looked at, but this is a very popular melody in Lutheran culture. But regardless, we have a short chorale today in comparison to the chorale we had yesterday. So let's get started with the analysis. So 2 sharps in the key signature. We start on B minor. We end on B major. I reckon we're in the key of B minor. And of course we start off with that tonic triad with a passing 7th in the bass. And here we have E, C sharp, E, and B. G, C sharp, E, and B. So on the surface this looks like a 2-4-3 chord. C sharp minor 7 flat 5 over G. However, if you look at the C sharp as the accented non-chord tone, or if this B is our chord tone, this could be G, B, E, and B, which is an E minor triad in first inversion. So 2-4-3 or 4-6, depending on how you look at it. They're both achieving the same thing. They're both predominant chords. And here we get an interesting chord. We have F sharp, C sharp, F sharp, and A natural. That's an F sharp minor triad in root position, or a lowercase 5. So this is pretty interesting. We have a passing tone in the tenor as well, where we get another, we get another iteration of F sharp minor, but no, we get a D up here in the melody. So we have F sharp, A, F sharp, and D, which looks like a 3 chord, but if we take the G sharp, the B, the D, and the F in the key of G minor and look at these as the chord tones as opposed to this right here, which would be like a 3 chord in first inversion. Or actually, I think that's going to be my primary analysis. Coming from a minor 5 chord, that might make a little bit more sense. But if we look at this G sharp, this B, this F sharp, and this D, that's G sharp diminished, minor 7 flat 5 actually. If we look at that, that would be like a 6-7 chord, a 6 half diminished 7 chord, and a result of harmonizing the melodic minor scale. 5 going to 6 might make a little bit more sense than 5 going to 3, but either way, this chord is either happening in passing or it's happening on the harmonic rhythm, and this F sharp is like kind of like a reverse or an inverted suspension. Same thing with this A right here, it's just part of a larger figure. But regardless, however you look at it, the chords are more or less achieving the same thing. We have A sharp, C sharp, F sharp, and C sharp, so we have a little bit of cross-relation action going on here. A sharp versus the A natural. I know they're separated by a beat, but still, the fact that we have a F sharp major triad in close proximity to an F sharp minor triad, that's very interesting. And this would be F sharp major over A, so 5-6. We have 4 passing tones, or 3 passing tones and a neighbor tone here. So we have B, B, G sharp, and B, D, G sharp, and B, which is G sharp diminished over B. So it would be a 6-6 chord. And then we get F sharp, E, A sharp, and C, which would be an F sharp 7 chord in root position, so 5-7. And then we have a perfect authentic cadence in the key of B minor here, where we cadence on B minor, B, D, F sharp, and B. Perfect authentic cadence. Very good. So next cadence we have I'm calling it an imperfect authentic cadence, but this is a subdominant cadence where it sounds like we're cadencing on the 4 in the key of D major, but I'm calling this an imperfect authentic cadence in the key of G major, just because that's the vocabulary we have. But here we have another B minor triad, B, D, F sharp, and B. We have some passing tones here that outline a little bit of a 7 chord, but over the B, it's more something that's done in passing. No need to analyze, I'll just mention it. And then we have B, F sharp, B, and D. That's another B minor chord. And I want to say that this B minor chord is our modulation point to the key of D major. We'll call it 6 in the key of D major. This G is not an accented non-chord tone, it's just a non-chord tone that we leap out of. I think that's called an escape tone. It's the more conventional name for it, but doesn't really matter too much. What matters is that you know how it operates. It just steps into and leaps out of. And here we have A natural, C sharp, E, and E. It's an A major triad in root position. That's a 5 chord in the key of D major, passing 7th in the bass, passing tone in the tenor. And then we have F sharp, A, and D. That's D major in first inversion, which is our tonic. Another passing tone in the tenor. And then we have E, C sharp, G, and E. That's C sharp diminished over E, which is 7/6. Then we have D, D, F sharp, and F sharp, which would be another tonic triad. This progression of 1/6 to 7/6 to 1, or flipped around 1/7/6 to 1/6 is pretty common in Bach music, or just the pattern of taking 2 chords with the same structure, like 2 1s for example, or 2 4s for example, and separating them by a chord that's a diatonic step below it and in first inversion. So 4/6, 3/6, 4, or 3/6, 2/6, 2. It's a common pattern that Bach uses to traverse some pitches, I guess. And then we have a little passing tone here in the alto, getting ready for the cadence. And this is where I'm saying we go to the key of G major. D happens to be 5 in the key of G major, and G major is our tonic. However, if you wanted to keep analyzing this in the key of D, because it sure sounds like we're in the key of D, we could keep this as 1, and we could say that we cadence on 4. This is what it sounds like to me, but I haven't found any resources on what a cadence like this is called. I'm still waiting for someone to come to my rescue in the comment section as to what a cadence of 1 going to 4 is called. It's like kind of like a plagal cadence, but not really. Not even so by virtue of the fact that we're using a 4 chord and a 1 chord just in flipped order, but the fact that we're going from a chord to it's not a very tension resolution based cadence. It's pretty stable. Alright, then we have another perfect authentic cadence in the key of B minor, and I think straight away, even though we start off with this G major chord, we're modulating to the key of B minor via the 6, while passing 7th there in the bass. We have E, C sharp, G, and E. This D is a neighbor tone. That would be C sharp diminished over E, which is 2/6 in the key of B minor. And then we have E leaping up to A sharp. That's an interesting thing going on, like a tritone leap. And he doesn't reverse the direction immediately afterwards. He does so chromatically, which is interesting. But this B is very brief. It does tend to go down after the gesture. But here we have F sharp over A, which is 5/6 in the key of B minor, passing 7th in the melody. And then we have B, B, F sharp, and D, which is our tonic triad B minor in root position, with another passing 7th in the bass. Here we have G, B, E, and E. That's E minor in first inversion, which would be 4/6 in the key of B minor. And here we have C sharp, which is a non-chord tone, B is a chord tone, and a passing 7th here. So not really an analyzable chord. Oh no, this isn't C sharp, this is E. That is still very much a chord tone. So really the only non-chord tone is this D here, so it kind of turns into a 7 chord, but I don't really think that's necessarily or necessary to analyze. And then here we get F sharp, A, and C sharp with a passing 7th in the tenor. That's a 5 chord. and then we cadence on B minor, which is our tonic, B, D, F sharp, and B. Now if we look at the bass here, we have C sharp, D sharp, E sharp, C sharp, F sharp. That looks undeniably like a fragment of F sharp minor, or melodic minor to be more specific. So I think even though our last cadence is a perfect authentic cadence in the key of B minor, I think we go there via F sharp minor, so a minor dominant, which is really interesting because we do get the minor dominant earlier in the chorale as well, which is pretty cool. So we'll call B minor 4 in the key of F sharp, and here we get C sharp, E sharp, E sharp, and B, C sharp, G sharp, E sharp, and B, which is a C sharp major triad in root position. A couple of passing tones, one in the alto, one in the bass. And then we get E sharp, C sharp, G sharp, and B. It's actually a 5-7 chord, and this is where the chord turns into 6-5 before turning back into 7 here, because we skip down to C sharp in the bass, and that goes to F sharp, C sharp, F sharp, and A, which is our tonic in the key of F sharp minor. And instead of modulating via a common chord like a minor 5, I don't think it happens quite yet. We get some pretty textbook melodic minor, descending naturals, ascending raised scale degrees, and here we get D, B, F sharp, and D, which is B minor in first inversion, 4-6 in the key of F sharp minor, and this is where I think we modulate via 1-6, and the chord gets reinverted with that same skip. So we have the same sort of ending of the bass figure here, where we skip down at the end of it rather than step down. So 1-6 going to 5-3 here. We then have E, B, G, and C sharp. That's C sharp minor 7 flat 5 over E, so that'd be a 2-6-5. We know that Bach loves his 2-6-5 chords. And then we have F sharp, D, and B here. That would be kind of like a 1-6-4 chord, a little bit in passing, but I don't think it happens really long enough to really warrant needing to be on the page, but just know that that's sort of what's happening with those voices there. This E is a chord tone, so no need to mark it. And then we have F sharp, A sharp, E natural, and C sharp, which is a F sharp 7 chord, which is 5-7 in the key of B minor. And then we cadence on B, F sharp, D sharp, and B, which is a major tonic triad, B major because of the Picardy third, the D sharp there. And that is today's analysis. So all in all, everything more or less functions the way that we would expect. I think this progression right here is probably the most interesting. We have 1 to 2 to F minor 5 to 3. If we looked at this in the key of D major, we would have like a 6, 7, 3, because 7 wants to go to 3, but instead of getting a major quality, because we're undeniably in like a minor key here, we get 2 going to 5, which is like the equivalent of 7 going to 3 in the major key if we were analyzing it in the key of the major. And then here we get 7 going to 3 going to 1, which has this G sharp going on afterwards, which makes it feel like melodic minor. After this, more sort of like a modal minor, like an Aeolian, or a like a natural minor, like early music. But all in all, minor 5s do come up from time to time. I think it's because that tone in the melody is, even though Bach has acknowledged the fact that this is a B minor melody with an absence of the leading tone in the melody, and he's reconciled that by paying homage to the quality of the chord that's suggested, or at least contextualizing it in this way. He could have contextualized that A in a number of different ways, right? He could have turned that into a D major chord. He could have turned that A into, a number of different things. Some type of seventh of like a secondary dominant or something like that. There are lots of different ways that we could contextualize that A, but regardless, he does so with a minor 5, and that's really awesome that he's able to do that. But with all that being said, I think I will end the analysis there. Thank you so much for watching the video and continuing to support the channel. Apologies again for the delayed upload. I was running into some computer issues, and when computer issues strike, they keep you from editing. But I learned about the notification system, and I'll be sure to update the subscribers who are expecting a daily video if something happens like that. And if I usually don't have computer issues, but if I do run into them, I know now how to inform the followers of the channel. So thank you for being patient, and I hope you enjoyed the double upload today. This was a short chorale. It was a delight to analyze. It was pretty straightforward. Subdominant cadence, pretty interesting as well. But I will leave it at that. Thank you so much for supporting the channel, and I hope you take care.